Hello friends, welcome to our channel Knowledge and Wisdom Official, and today we are going to study about one subject which is statistic for economics. This is for students who are studying in class 11 and who have taken commerce as their basic subject. So with them they have a book which is for statistics for economics. So in the first chapter, which is introduction chapter, where we will read or we'll study about economics. But before we proceed and study about economics, what we need to do is we need to understand two questions. Question number one is, what is the definition of economics? And question number two is, why economics? These are the two definitions which is already given in the book, and I would request you all, when we are doing this study, you should turn the chapter which is introduction of statistics for economics, and when you turn the chapter, when you are there on chapter number 1, then we will go one by one and we will try to understand everything that is mentioned in the books. I'll try my level best to explain it to you in the best possible way. So what was my first question? My first question was, what is the definition of economics? So if you will try to understand the definition of economics, and then I'll tell you why economics. The definition is, economics is the study of how people and society, it is nothing but it's a study of how people and society choose to employ scarce resources. Scarce means limited resources. They choose to employ limited resources that could have alternative uses in order to produce various commodities that satisfy their wants and distribute them for consumption among various persons and group of society. So first is, what we understand is, a group of people in society are producing something for another group of people in society, right? And in the entire economics, there is a monetary gain which we will understand in the later part of the study, right? So we understood the definition. The definition is very simple, very clear. Economics is the study of how people in society choose to employ scarce resources that could have alternative uses in order to satisfy their wants and to distribute them for consumption among various persons and groups in society. So that's the definition. Now, why economics? So before we understand why economics, or in the process of understanding why economics, you all must have heard about the founder of modern economics name, which is already mentioned in your chapter, which is Alfred Marshall. So if you see, let's go to the page number 1. So here it is. Okay. So this is Alfred Marshall. Let's go to page number 1. Alfred Marshall is the founder of modern economics, and he said, the study of a man in ordinary business of life is economics, and how we will understand that. So what he's saying is study of man in the ordinary business of life, right? So let's understand this. What is ordinary? Ordinary business of life. This is ordinary business of life, correct? Now in this ordinary business of life, first stage, just understand everything in stage wise. First is what? Consumer. Who are consumer? You and me and everyone, right? So first is consumer. Now what consumer does? Consumer consumes the product which is available. Whatever scarce product that is available in the market, they consume it. What they can consume? They can consume anything. They can consume food, they can consume clothing, they can consume shelter, they can consume electric bulb, they can consume hanger, they can consume belt, they can consume furniture, they can consume anything and everything which is available or which is made through scarce resources. Now, if a consumer wants to consume the product, and if you see here what is written, what you want, you can consume it for yourself, you can consume it for your family members, or if you want to gift it to someone, friends, teachers, parents, your siblings, anyone, your kids, so you can consume that. But how will you consume? You will consume only if someone is selling that product. So the second stage which comes here becomes a seller. Who's selling the product? The seller is selling the product. Now, why seller is selling the product? He is selling the product to get the monetary benefits. But seller is the person who is not manufacturing, who is not producing. There is someone who is producing. He is only getting the product from the producer and he is reaching out to consumer. So he is a kind of middleman. Probably he is using his shop, or probably he is, he is selling it online platform, offline platform, whatever it is. But he is selling the product to the consumer, but he is not producing it. So there needs to be one more angle to it, which is producer. Now, who are producing the product? Number one, it can be farmers who are producing the product. They are producing food items, they are doing farming, and they are ensuring that the food items which we consume or cash crops like cotton, jute, which like with cotton you make t-shirts and everything. So those products are being used. So he is producing such product. Even a manufacturer, he converts raw material into a finished goods. A doctor who converts his services, who provides services, he is also a producer. A barber who is giving a haircut, plumber who is giving his services, they are also producers. So the producer is selling the products. So few producers who are giving services, they might not sell it to seller. They can directly reach out to the consumer. But people who are manufacturing their product, either they will give it to seller or they can reach out to the consumer, but they are also the one who are selling it. So producer have produced it, it has gone to seller, seller has sold it to the consumer. Okay. Now in this producer we can have employee and employer. So when you talk about employee can be consumer also. Seller can also be a consumer, maybe because he is not selling the entire product. Everything he might not be selling it. Let's say if he has a grocery shop, so whatever item which is there in grocery shop, he can sell it. Let's say he has, furniture shop, so he can sell furniture, but still he needs to consume food items, right? So a seller can be a consumer. Producer can also be a consumer, but seller and producer, what they do is they have to keep an employee so that they can do the production or they can do the sales, right? So they can keep the employee either on salary, where like he can have the skilled workers, educated people who are doing their accounting, who are doing their admin work, HR work, and at the same time he can have laborers whom he has employed them on daily wages basis, so he can provide them the salary or the wages. When you talk about producers and sellers, they are generally employer who keep employees with them, right? Because an individual, if you have a manufacturing unit and it has a capacity where he can employ hundreds of staff, he will not be doing it alone. Producer will not be doing it alone. So he needs to employ employees and laborers, right? So an employer can be a producer or a seller, and he can have different employees. So these employees, all of them, employer, employees, or producer, seller and consumer, they are all into ordinary business of life. So whatever business of life where they can have monetary gain, they are all involved into that. Okay. So you understood why economics? Now here if you see, they are clearly mentioning it. In these cases, you will be called a gainful employed in an economic activity. Economic activities are the one that are undertaken for a monetary gain. This is what economist means by ordinary business of life. So this entire thing I have explained it to you on how ordinary business of life works. Okay. Now, if you will see, there is they have given an example of, I have read that, of Aladdin, which was like Aladdin, he had a magic lamp, and whatever he needed, he just used to rub his lamp and used to get that. But we all cannot have a life of Aladdin. That's not the actual story. That's just a mythology. That's a fairy tale, right? From Arabians. Now, let's understand the concept of consumption, production, and distribution. So here, what we need to understand is consumption, production, and distribution. Now, who are doing consumption? So, the consumers, who can be a seller, who can be a producer, who can be an end consumer, everyone is consuming the product. Some product or the other, everybody must be consuming it, right? So, consumptions are done by people who are consuming the product. So, if you will see here, the consumer decides like whatever income that he has, based on his limited income, he can consume any product. Let's say if a customer or if a consumer, he has only 15,000 rupees. If he has a capacity of 15,000 rupees, can he go and buy an iPhone? The answer is no. Can he buy a higher version of Samsung phones? The answer is no. So within 15,000 rupees range, whatever product which is available, whichever phone that is available, he can buy that only. He cannot buy more than his buying capacity, right? So he has whatever that income that he has, he needs to buy a product, and that buying of a product is actually consumption. Okay, so he's consuming something within his limited budget. All right. Now, when you talk about production, we know how the producer similarly chooses on what to produce for the market. So generally, you will see, even in phones, when you talk about iPhones, that's for higher version of the society, people who are rich and who can consume that product. When you talk about simple phones, there are a lot of phones which are available in market, which is on probably low range. Then there are phones which are in mid range. So these phones are being created keeping in mind the different societies, okay, different people who are in different societies, or depending on their income group, right? So consumption is done, consumption is understood. Now production is also like the producer or the seller keeping their market in mind, keeping the person who's consuming their product. They produce a product, they produce it, they sell it for that particular segment of customers, right? Now there are different people who are involved into this. If you see, for example, know how national income. So when we explain you about distribution, we will tell you about how national income actually operates. We are not taking, just a second guys, alright, so what we need to now understand is about the distribution. Now how distribution happens. We have understood consumption, we have understood production. When we are talking about distribution, it's actually a complicated process, and where the GDP or the national income comes into a picture. Now what is GDP? Generally, let's say if a doctor is giving his services, he is earning some money. If a barber is giving his services, he is earning some money. If a farmer is producing his crops and he is selling it in the market, he is gaining some income. If a seller is selling some product, whatever product it is, he is gaining some income. If a manufacturer is manufacturing goods and selling it into the market, he is earning some money. So whatever product or services that are being sold in the market, the country they accumulate the entire income, all right. And when they accumulate the entire income, that income is called the gross domestic product. Here, just to make it simple, they have removed international trade and investment, and then this is distributed through wages, through salaries, through profits, through interest to different societies or different people in the country. So these are the three subheadings, which is consumption, production and distribution. There are few activities also. Please do those activities and put your answer on the comments if you can. Now, so what we will do is we will try to understand the definition of economics again. So what is it? Economics is a study of how people and society, from where we started, we are ending it there itself. So economics is nothing but it's a study of how people and society choose to employ scarce resources, whatever resources that they have, which is a limited resources that they have, they employ scarce resources that could have an alternative use, in order to produce various commodities, right? And that commodities is used to satisfy the wants and to distribute them for consumption among various persons and society. So something which is being produced by a group of people or society, which is ultimately getting consumed by a group of people or society. So it's very simple. We will be going to the next part of this chapter, introduction, is statistics in economics, and we will be going to learn that in our next video. Thank you so much. Thanks a ton. If you like the video, if you think it was informative, please do like, share and subscribe, and share it with your friends if it has helped. If you need something else, some more information on this, please reach out to me, do comment on that. Thank you so much guys, love you all.